the cross side that I like. There's a bunch of different ones. I like to hold where I got an arm under the head. We'll talk about this in a minute, but almost all your positions are better if his elbow wasn't in your hip. If his forearm wasn't in your hip, it's much easier to hold anybody down. But let's just say his forearm's in my hip right now. You guys have all did this where you grab the guy and you put your shoulder in the face. Everybody does this, but there's a couple problems you have with this. One is how you put the shoulder in the face. So one thing is I was showing this the other day, but my forearm, people do this. They put their forearm here, and it's like they bring their shoulder to their hand and they're leaning over the guy. And this puts a lot of pressure on the face, but it doesn't put pressure, hold the guy down pressure. The guy can still move a lot. So I'm not doing this. I'm pulling him under me and pull my elbow back to my other knee and then dropping my shoulder down. So when you squeeze the guy, you're pulling him under you. You're not doing this. You're pulling him under you, and I put my shoulder in his jaw. And people think it's not in his neck. It's actually on the side of his jaw so he can't turn his head. Once you get this, we're gonna go to a butterfly grip. You don't have to, but sometimes if you're really having trouble holding a guy, you'll cross your wrist and then back grip your hands and then squeeze from here. We're holding. Now, how I put my knees depends on my flexibility. If I can put one knee by one hip and my other knee close to his head, and I can still hold my hips relatively low, then do that. If not, drop one of your knees and straighten that side. Okay? But I'm just squishing the guy and holding. Okay? He's going to be pressing my chin and doing all this stuff. If he's doing that or he's flooring me in the neck, at the beginning, I kind of don't care unless this is actually making my structure break. Like if that's moving me around, then I care. But right now, your partner, the main thing is, the goal of your partner is to tell you is that squishing him. And you should feel heavy. If you don't feel heavy, then there's no point in what you're doing. People think, you're doing this just to be mean with your shoulder. I can give a shit about my shoulder being mean to him if I don't have any pressure. Because then I would just take pressure off. I need it. Even if you guys are smaller, you need to hold pressure on the guy. Otherwise, they're going to make space. So get really close. My job is to get close as possible, and his job is to make a bunch of room. So I'll hold. So just for a little bit, pair up, hold cross-side, head and arm cross-side correctly. Pull your elbow back, squish. Butterfly grip and squish too. And just make sure your legs are either like this or you drop one. All right, let's go. 1, 2, 3. Try to hold pressure on it. If this is the heel, and you put pressure into the side corner of the heel, you're probably going to hold the guy down. And if you hold pressure directly on top of the heel, that'll hold the guy down. But if you start coming over the top to hold, he's going to roll you or push you off. So for example, look, I pull him under me, and I'm just like here. I'm kind of sagging. That's good. Or I'm directly over top. That's good. Sometimes I like to be sagged over depending on how good the guy's bridge. But look how subtle this is. I just moved over a little bit, and now I can't hold the guy down. Just because of that, like, you think, man, well, if I'm strong enough, kind of doesn't matter if you're strong enough, if you're not. What if he's strong too, you know? If y'all are both strong, the guy doing the move right wins. You know what I mean? Like, that's like the thing. So, if I'm squishing him, now, depending on how I squish him, the harder you hold a guy down, the longer it takes him to get out, the more frantic and incorrect his escape will be. Right now, he's doing the right stuff. After about 10, 20 seconds, he's bad. And he can't get up. So his escapes turn into, they were cool frames and bridges. Now they're just pushing the shit out of your head. They're doing this, they're bumping all weird. They're doing stuff that doesn't help them. So one of the things that you can do is you're going to be looking for openings. Before I show some of those, I want to show another variation, and then we'll go over a couple submissions off of this. So again, we're going to clear the arm in a minute, but we're just showing these without clearing the arm. Everybody's got a gi on. I'm going to open his gi with my thumb. and pull this in his armpit. I'm right under his shoulder, and I grip right here and hold. Okay? Now, I can use this as a hold position, okay? Or I lower my shoulder to the side of his neck, block the hip. This hand comes up, and that's a choke from there. Now, if I don't hit the choke, I got a free arm. This gi became my other hand. So now we're just sitting here. Now he's bridging, he's doing everything, but I have a hand to mess with this hand. So I can figure out some stuff to do here. But right now, I switch it up. So what we're gonna do is, I'm gripping, I feed this, I'm under his shoulder, I'm not here. Under his shoulder, way in his armpit, grip this as tight as I can. We're gonna try this choke. If that doesn't work, he's gonna be shoving my head. I drop my head down, and then I start clearing stuff off the top of my head. Sorry. I pull my head here, I go over, and I finish from there. Clear the, here, let me use Magoni's real quick. Oh, Joe Magoni. So, same thing, but I was able to clear this arm now. So, does it even matter I clear this arm? It matters because most escapes kind of need this hand here. There are escapes without the hand here, but at least the first several that you learn have the guy's hand here. So if this was gone, this is bad. So there's a couple ways to do it. Sometimes if I'm crushing hard on him, like I'm really crushing on him, like I've liked him since middle school. You know what I mean? I know where his locker is. He's at the top locker now, you know? But I'm squeezing him. Sometimes if I just drop my hip, it doesn't feel good. He'll just move his own arm. And when you drop your hip, it's like your hip goes down. You're not dropping your hip on the side of your hip. It's your front of your hip you're dropping on his arm. It depends on what you're doing. Sometimes you'll drop the front of your hip, you'll drop the side of your hip. If you're trying to get around something, the side of your hip will drop. If you're trying to crush something, the front of your hip will drop. You know, it just depends on what you're doing. I'm laying on his forearm. If I did this, not so bad. But I just straighten it and I lay on his arm. He's like, ow. Now drop your hip and then back. Now I'll get about here and it seems to be like more difficult. So that's when you like circular, like pull the guy over like that. That's how you get it the rest of the way. So you'll do that a lot. So now I cleared his arm. A couple other ways to clear his arm are you just grab his elbow, post your leg, pull this up, switch, and then see my bottom hip is on his arm. I'll put my knee by his head, and I'll put my top hip. That way he doesn't have time to clear. If his elbow is already on the ground, maybe he's resting, you know, he put his elbow there, then I'll just put my hand on his arm. Okay? And I'll just put my knee here, and I just clear him, pull him up. There's a bunch of ways to clear the arm. But honestly, the one I like the most is I crush his hand, and then he starts moving his own arm, and then I'll swim it. So, now when I clear it, this makes all this worse and means that I can start attacking more attacks based off of this arm. So we were working with the side choke, which is still there, but now we're gonna work a darce on the arm that's here. So his arm is here. I put my hand over his head, okay? And I either back grab his lat on the other side or I grab my own leg. I block his hip. Now, from here, I got a couple options. The main one I do is I grab his pants, I hunch my back, and I push him over because it shoves his arm under my armpit. And then I keep my weight. See how I'm not just spinning around because then he'll move his elbow. I'm keeping pressure. Then I go all the way to the other side. Okay, so look at this. Everybody come over here. Some of y'all do this already, but who does the darce? Some of y'all do the darce. If you do the darce, you'll notice that some people you'll get it on and it doesn't choke them quick, and other people you get it on and it chokes them quicker. You don't know necessarily why. Here's the real reason. The real reason is Some guys are a little wider and they take up the space that you didn't do correctly. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes you'll endorse a guy and you'll get it, and all this looks correct, but there's a part that I might be missing. I'll grab here, but Joe's not very wide, so there's room right there. So he's moving around and doing all this stuff, and he can fight it. I don't need the room right here. A thicker guy, there's no hole right there. So what you do is, once you get the Darce in, you put your hand on the back of his head, and then you shove your arm in really far, then back hold his arm. Now I take the back of my elbow, like my tricep, and I push his head back as far as I can until I reach my hand. Now it's already in. Because when you do this is what people do. They go like this. And they go, oh man, I strapped my hand in there quick. That's gonna make the move good. But there's no choke yet. There's just a lot of spit on the mat from when I was talking real aggressively. You go like this, and then he's got a little room, and then he's moving around. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like that. I shoot my hand in, I back grab, and I elbow in, and I choke. Can you drop your hip? Yeah, you can do all that. It's just, sometimes you don't even need to have that shit. To be real, if I get my arm in there pretty deep, sometimes I can tap the guy on top pressure. Sometimes I have trouble getting his elbow off my hip. He's just really good at following my hip. So I want to go for a cradle. So what I'm doing is, there's a couple ways to do the cradle. I'm doing this. Now, I can just grab his leg, but sometimes they see it and they start moving their leg. So I just find his hip and then slide up to his leg. Now, there are like stages to where he may figure out what I'm doing. So if I caught it here, now it's like I gotta fight the dude's leg. But if I get under and I hurry up and grab this, he can't kick his leg, kick it off as quickly. Then I have time to gather my arms up. But right here, because I got control over him a little bit better, I can just move my leg and he can't really do too much about that arm. So I'm gonna show like a regular cradle kind of from here that I do, and then I'll show the one I like. But I just lock my hands and I get really close to his head and my hip and his armpit. Now, why do I do this one? Because some of these guys, they're so explosive and they move so quick, you don't have time to figure the move out, okay? So you need a position, you need to be able to control them so you have time to think. And it's kind of like, remember, the more specific the position, the easier it is for me to predict what he will do to counter. Does that make sense? I'm like, all right, he might use his elbow to do this. He might push me here. Now I'm gonna cradle. Now his arm's caught, his leg's caught. He's gonna push his leg real hard and push me with this arm. That's what he's gonna do. He's gonna maybe take his other arm and try to back his head out. He might do this is what he might do. So, it's not that easy to do that stuff. If you stay close to his hip, if I was here, he'd back his head out. Okay, so, but I'm here. I don't back his head out. I'm holding my arm. So, the cradle that I like better though, is I grab his arm and hold his wrist on this side. So when I grip, I just set like this. So, got kick out, because I'm holding his arm. And he can't push my face. He can't do this. And there's a key lock anytime I want it if he goes too crazy. So if he wants to back his head out, cool. Key lock. I key lock with his leg in there. I don't care. You know, he wants to push his leg real hard. Cool. I'll do that. I'll key lock him. So the beginning, let's get that grip. If you're not familiar with this, just grab his arm, hold. Just get real close to his hip. You know, while you're getting used to this position, and then tell your partner to kick his leg, try to back his head out, push your head, do all this. And if that doesn't do anything, then you got a position that you can kind of hold and figure out, okay? First one, if I get this, boom, here. So when do I get this? I get this at the beginning because his hand's already here. So when I cradle, I'm here, I'm already here, see? So I already got to this position, and I get my hip real close to his armpit. So I'm here. This is really terribly shitty position, okay? I keep my pressure, I'm just holding. Now, he got the key lock and the darce is still there. It's even worse. I got him up in his armpit. I pass the arm. I'm already holding his leg. Look, I go right to the same move we just did, just from a different position. And I was talking to him earlier about it, but why I'm always attacking darces and doing stuff, because jiu-jitsu guys don't attack the close arm that much. It's always a far side arm bar and all this. Like, they don't hit this arm bar. Now, sometimes it's not easy to hit this arm bar or arm locks or moves involving the arm closer to you, but it's also, they're not paying attention to that arm. They're paying attention to this arm. He'll block this kind of stuff when I spin around, but if I was to grab this arm and then go, it's a weirder entry, they're not paying attention, so just depends, you know what I mean? Like, so if I clear his arm, I've got access to this arm. If he bridges a lot, I'll catch his leg. If when I grab his leg, he kicks real hard, I go under, I pull him up. That way I can reach something here so I can grab. So if you do, there's ways to get it. If I grab it and he kicks real hard, I can't reach. Hold, get closer till you can get his ankle, go up to his knee, find your arm, and get your hip real close to his armpit so he can't squish. If I want this, I'll hold here and I'll back grab. Sometimes I'll do this. I'll just back grip when I'm here. This is very shitty, but look. I'll set like this if I want to get to the other side. And then even though it's one hand, like kick.
He's gonna break eventually.
You can't. He'll break eventually. If you want to forcibly kiss a dude, you can't get out. As Cosmo does all the time. You know, on Sundays, only on Sundays.
That's right, only on Sundays.
Only on Sundays. So today's Saturday, so it's not. He's straight today. So, boom, boom. You're fucking Brad here with some Brad or Cosmo, y'all are wrestlers. This is asshole shit. This is so bad. And if you get this is really mean, but look, back grip. Find the gi, pass it, and pair it off. And then go from there when you go. So look, I'm here, I pass this leg, I re-grip. See, I'm here, you can't block anything. I pin this and I get this under the neck. This, switch. Go, you're choke.
You're welcome to.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, Joe. Here, let's work this cradle stuff. 1, 2, 3.
Grab it. So go to the bicep, grab the wrist, over here. I'm probably gonna bring my knee by his head to the shoulder and then swim that back foot up by his back. And I post his leg. And as I pull this, my right leg's gonna step all the way over his hand. And adjust this with this clear.
Now see how it did that? When he steps over, he moves his arm right before his leg comes over. That way he bypasses my leg. This move is just like you can do this on the position we just did. I think I can. So when we were here and I was holding, we were squishing him. If I can get a hold of his hand, I'm gonna go over and I'll do the same thing for the triangle from there. So you can hit that triangle off of either side. Here, let me get, who's that guy? This guy. I use Magoni's again. No, I use his buddy. Yay! So, showing some of this cradle stuff, we were talking about a lot of wrestlers use like a near side cradle. So like he's into me. So it's this leg that I grab and I'm locking my arms down here, okay? So this is a one arm anaconda choke. It's weird. So I get close to his head and this hand on the bottom catches his tricep. See that? So I'm getting deep and I caught his tricep. Now I pull this past me and I get my body on this side of his arm and I will switch to here. I'm pushing his back to the mat and pulling this. So one arm anaconda choke. You can hit the same way, even if we didn't do it from here. You can be on all fours on his forearms. I can get front headlock past the arm, and there's a couple ways that I can go for this. A lot of times I'll go under, catch the ankle on the opposite side, knock them back, go under, and I'll hit the same move. Okay. Sometimes I'll roll through. There's other ones where he's on all fours. I'll pass in, I'll go under, I'll roll, and I'll come up, and I'll roll through on that. That's off the near side cradle. So we have cradle off this side, we have a near side cradle. And again, why we're doing all this stuff, because the more uncomfortable he is, near side.
Yeah, the first one, yes, sir.
So he's here. Now, the reason he got there, there's a couple of reasons. He's probably just came up trying to get an underhook, whatever, but you're cradled him, and you got your arms locked, and you're kind of deep in here, and you're holding them. Now, I'm circling to his head and dipping so that I can reach his tricep. Sometimes I'll have to pass the arm, but I like to get as deep as I can without having to pass, because I don't want him to get up. Now, I go here, I go under the leg. See how this is on this side of my body? And then I go from there. They're going to tap before they hit the back. All right, so what you do? Yeah, but I'm actually moving my foot close to his butt as I pull my leg out.
One more time, Griff.
All right, so my thigh, I'm caught, my thigh's caught. I can't pull it out. That's not happening. And then you see people do a knee slice pass, and you go, oh, he just stood up. He went like this, and then he yanked his leg out. That probably won't happen either. The guy knows what he's doing. I'm here. Look, my foot gets closer to his butt, and then my knee goes. Then I slice my knee up. The other thing is, this is the part that people get stuck on. When I kick my leg out, a lot of times you get your foot stuck. So people think, why am I getting my foot stuck? You gotta point your toe. So you point your foot like that when it's time to slide out, because it makes your foot smaller. It's like your heel smaller. So like this, my foot's caught. Like he's got my foot. I can't get my foot out. So I'll point my foot to pull my foot out. So it's just walk your foot closer to his butt and point your toe when it's time to get out.
I actually learned this from Michael Donald, my very first seminar.
Oh, really?
Yeah, blue belt or white belt, and it was at Tim's place in Lawrenceburg. So what I'll do is I'll come under it, similar to what Griff was showing earlier about that pressure in the face. So I'll come here, come around, and I drive my weight into his face, and I flatten him out. Okay, and what this does is it's going to start to take some pressure from his legs, and it's going to direct it up here. So now my toes are on the mat, right? So now I crab walk, keep it tight. I crab walk my foot to his butt, all right? Typically, here, I'll get my knee deeper, all right? So he's gonna have it deep here, it's tight, right? I'm not pulling this out. So I drive all my weight into his face, into his neck, into his jaw, whatever I can get, like this, and I'll just walk. And you see how my knee pops out? And I can come here and pass them out. Or I could kick back. But a lot of times what'll happen, guys with longer legs, they'll get to here and the leg is over the top. So you get to here and then he just slides right off. So one more time. Or let me grab another person so you can see it. Anybody, don't matter. Let me grab Derek.
Tim's confidence in his half bar is completely gone now.
So this
You
year,
need to hold your leg in it, so he feels like he cannot hold it anymore.
I like to attack up here with pressure, because right now, go ahead and give me a little squeeze. There's a lot going on down here. So when I come here, drive, and I take both of my feet, put my toes to the mat, and I drive my weight into his throat. And then I kind of turn my hips, and I walk, pop it off. I can kick back, or if he has a quarter guard where he's crossing his feet, I can come up to mount, and I can use this and peel it off. But that's a real effective. That's what I do all the time when people get behind.
No,
Someone's
I'm
gonna cradle me.
cradle. So look, there's a reason that I have my arm, that I trap the arm. So real quick here, loosen up. If you go online and you look up cradles BJJ, the arm's out, okay? Not saying that doesn't work, but I think it's easier to get out if I got my arm out. So if your arm's out, this is not as big of a deal. I got my arm. It still sucks, but sometimes I can kind of give the back. And now it's a fight from here. One is if he goes to the cradle and he's going for it and you got your arm out, you're gonna get out. Just give your back. But where it gets rough is if you don't have your arm out. Okay, so when he locks his hands here, I need to get this off my neck. Okay, that's why he gets real close to my armpit. Okay, so I grab his elbow and then I scoop to get it off my neck. I have to, in order for that to work though, I have to have him pay less attention to keeping my head in there and more attention to my legs. So I start kicking when I do that. So I start kicking, like I'll kick with this leg and walk, and then I'll bump through. Then sometimes you get the cutter or whatever, but don't get to fucking cradle. You know, like, if anything, the best counter is you clear your arm when you think if he's here and you see he goes for your knee, pull your arm out quick. Now he's got it, but you'll back grab. And he don't want that one, and you'll go here and you'll fight that position. Here, let me say a couple things on escaping position real quick, because this helped me so much when I couldn't get out of any position. Okay, so for example, here, let me get a big guy. Let me get Cosgrove. So there's every position. There's a point of, hey man, I just can't get out. None of my escapes are working. Okay, so you gotta think about it like this. If he's holding the position right and you're escaping correctly, both of y'all are doing it. There was a perfect way to do something. If he was perfectly holding position, you was perfectly escaping, who'd win? He'd win. He's on top. So it's not that your moves, it's not like you're escaping bad. He's just doing the correct move. So your escape may never work. So your next shot is to bait a better position or a submission hold. And then when they go for it, they give you the space to get out. So for example, one way is to say he's holding cross-side really good. And everything's going wrong, okay? So the main counter is I go, what's better than cross-side? Mount, right? So I post my foot, I push into him, and I've got to give him a position without it looking like I did that to escape. And I can't give him so much of the position that he'd actually get mount, and now I'm screwed. So I can't do this. And then he takes mount, okay? I have to, my legs up, and I push my hip into him. So I put my knee up like this to block his mount, right? So he knows I'm defending. I get close to him, then I drop my leg. And when he goes over, I follow the leg. That's how I got half guard. Does that make sense? So I did this. He goes, he doesn't want me to escape. Now I'm escaped. So it'll end up being here. Another scenario is some guys, when you give them mount, they step over really fast. And I can't follow them, right? So that guy, you go back one, you escape on the opposite side. So what happens is, if he throws that leg over really hard, he's not paying attention to this leg. Then you just grab his foot and put it in between on the other side. That's how you escape there. Like for example, if he got mount on me, let's say. Okay, what's better than mount? Back. Give your back. So I can't give my back though, because if I give my back, then he's going to choke me. So I have to find a way to get my back. There's a bunch of ways, but a safe way is I'll block the hip and then I'll turn, and I'm just looking for an opening on this side. I can bait an arm bar the same way. If I'm here, I'm like this. He's gonna try to arm bar me, but it'll allow me to scoot out. A lot of times I'll bait an arm bar and scoot out. I'll give my back, but not all the way. I just make it look like I didn't mean to do that. And this looks stupid, but this works. If you are baiting a move, you look the direction that you want him to think, because he doesn't think you throw that far. Nobody thinks you think that far. So if I go like this, he just assumes that I'm escaping for real. He doesn't know that's a trick. Why would I look over my head all weird like that? It's like, if I did this, he's going, this guy's tricking me. Weird ass is staring at me, trying to force me to do the move. He ain't gonna do it, I'll just look at him. You know? But if I do this, I'm like, oh shit. He goes, oh, I'm taking it back. I'm like, haha, no. And I'll go here. Or, same thing with, this is a common one. This is more, sometimes people call this a bigger guy escape, but not necessarily a big guy escape. But Cosgrove does this one a lot. If I got close on a Cosgrove, if he'll give me a key lock so that I take my arm out from under his head, and he puts his hand in my armpit, and then he just bench presses and just pushes me off. That's the same thing as you just set him up because he thought he had a key lock. Just gave him a key lock and he's pushing his armpit. So if you're ever in a position he can't escape, you give him the next best position, or you give him a submission. Now, if he has your back, there is technically no next best position in his mind. So you have to give him an arm lock normally. Somebody has your back. Let me get my gonies real quick. Yeah, he's got my back. I'm fighting a choke. Don't give him a choke. You know, so I'll go, ah, crap. You see? And I did that on purpose. Like, I give my hand away. It's like, I don't do this. I go, shit. Now he can't get over my head anyways. So it doesn't matter. He can push my head, doesn't matter. I can still block the arm. I can time him you can time somebody if you told them to do it. I can't time you, like, you guys learn this. We got different ages in here, but the older you get, you cannot beat a guy faster than you can't beat him on speed. That's why that's the young guy's game. The young guy's game is he's faster than you. Thankfully, they're not always stronger than you. Like, if you get older, you still keep a lot of your strength. Just a lot of times your speed, your cardio is not there. So you're not going to do stuff the same way. I have to trick him. Boom, here, bam. And I play the game a lot. I'll play the game like, I know what I look like. I know I look like a 40-year-old dude who's struggling to get out of this fucking car. I know that. You know what I'm saying? I know that. But I'll play that shit up, man. I'll play it up like I used to do this with striking all the time. With me and the guy was standing up. This is how I would set up a head kick. I always say this all the time. I would throw a left hand and I'd miss him on purpose, and then he'd move his head out of the way. So I would go, do you think he thinks that I missed his head on purpose, or do you think he thinks he expertly slipped my punch? He slipped my punch in his mind. He doesn't think I did that on purpose, because he's like, he believes I don't know what I'm doing because I'm at this advanced age, you know? So I'm like, the first time I do it, I'm like, shit, fuck, man. And then I'll go, boom, and then that's like your head kick setup. So play your part, man. You got some grade, get some more grade right before tournament. You know what I mean? You're the oldest guy in your division, play that shit up. Get some big game going on. So, couple things. If it is possible to grab his leg, not that he can't still darce you, this makes it a little tougher, okay? But what I do is I always elbow down and I try. So you got to go and get it. So I'm here, look. See this? I come out the back this way. Sometimes this is a little submission, but you go, let me see if I can do this in the air. So if somebody's got me, I elbow back. This is on the other side of wherever his leg is. If his legs are around you, you gotta get your legs away from it. I'm backing up to where my head's here, you going. So like if he's gripped up, right here, look. I'm here, see I grab it, I grab it. See that? Now right here, go lock it up, lock it up. Right here, sometimes you get stuck. You're pushing, and this goes here, and it's like I'm like a handing shit to you. Like I'm like here. Look at all these grapes and apples and shit I got in my hand, and you do that. That's how I think of the move in my head. So that's a way out the darts. That's a good way out the darts, I think. It's good. Let's get some rest.
Yeah, see it.
I go 1, 2, 3.